Hey geeks, it's time for another Doctor Who review. This time we're reviewing Doctor Who Series 10, Episode 8, titled The Lie of the Land.
And if you haven't seen this episode yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later, because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler.
This was an absolutely fantastic episode. It reminded me a lot of Martha Jones' last episode as the Doctor's companion. I think it was the Series 3 finale, Last of the Time Lords. It reminded me a lot of that episode, and that was Martha Jones' best episode by far. Yeah. And I feel like, although Bill has been a fantastic companion throughout her entire run so far, this was her best episode.
Yeah, I think so too. She was... This episode revolved around her like no other has, and she nailed it.
Yeah. Like, I really thought, like, they had me convinced, like, oh man, this might actually be Bill's last episode, because she is supposedly going to be, you know, a one season and done companion. And I'm like, well, this would kind of be an appropriate exit for that companion, yeah. Although it's a really short run, and that's sad because she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it would have been a great way for her to leave the show. I'm really glad she didn't, though. I think, you know, the focus on her mom and the callback to the pictures and everything, I thought that worked really, really well. It was very touching, and I might have got a little bit emotional. I do that, though.
He does. I also like how she had to ask their consent with love. Her consent had to be pure, and she defeated them with love. Her love for her mother was enough to overwhelm them and make her able to undo their power.
Yeah. And I loved how the Doctor was telling her to, you know, fill every corner of your mind and memory with your mom. And then he's like, your mom just went viral. And I'm like, oh, kind of? Yeah,
kind of.
I also want to talk about the monks a little bit, because while I don't think they were an especially scary monster, they looked pretty scary.
Yeah.
They were really creepy looking, like zombie monks is what Bill called them, and that's a pretty appropriate name because they look like zombies. But I didn't think they were especially scary, but they're really devious, and that makes them fun.
Yeah. One
thing I wish we have seen in this episode is how Nardole survived the bacteria. He was in the TARDIS, and we're like, oh man, what's going to happen with Nardole? And then all of a sudden he shows up, and he's fine. He took 6 weeks, I guess, to heal, and then went looking for the Doctor for a while. But I wanted to kind of see him heal and how he fought off the bacteria.
Yeah, that would have been a nice touch.
I mean, that might have overly padded the episode a little bit. It's just something that I would have liked to have seen, just to fill that gap.
So we finally get to see the inside of the vault, and we get Missy back, and she's trying to be good, or so she says. I don't know how long she's been in that vault, so I'm not sure how much I believe her, but her suggestion that Bill needs to die definitely didn't help her cause any.
She's been alone with no visitors for 6 months, but prior to that, we don't really know how long she's been there. We found out for sure that it was her. I think it was the last episode, maybe the one before. I think it was the last one. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been the one before. I don't remember. But we kind of always assumed that it was her.
Yeah.
But we have no idea. It could have been hundreds of years that she's been in there. We really don't have a good sense.
We don't know when the Doctor went in Earth time to start guarding the vault. Yeah. I mean, she could have only... I mean, she's obviously been in there longer than just a couple of years, because if that was the case at the end of this episode when she's crying over the people she killed, it wouldn't be believable to the Doctor that it's only been a couple of years. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I get the impression that it's been at least tens of years, if not hundreds of years.
So whether or not she's whether she's trying to trap the Doctor into thinking that she is redeemed, I don't know yet. John Sim, I think, played the Master previously. He is rumored to be returning for this series. So I think that could be an interesting dynamic if Missy is turning good and maybe an earlier incarnation of the Master comes back and it's like Master versus Master, or Master and Doctor versus Master, or Master and Master versus Doctor. Any kind of situation like that I think could be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Overall, I think Series 10 has definitely been Capaldi's best series as the Doctor, and in my opinion, I think it's the best series of Doctor Who out of probably the last 4. I may have to go back and watch some of those just to solidify that in my mind, but regardless, Series 10 is absolutely fantastic. And this was episode 8. I think there's only 12 episodes, so we're nearing the end of the series, which is sad, but we are going to get a Christmas special this year, and that is, I guess, where Capaldi is going to regenerate into the next version of the Doctor. No real good feel yet for who it's going to be. Hopefully they change things up, though.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a big change in Doctor Who. Alright, I think that's all we have for this video. If you have anything to add, please let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you can tell us by dropping a like on it, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video on social media.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.